You see, what a lot of people on earth don't realise is that a male who wants to rape women generally has huge amounts of emotional pain about being unloved by women. And he wants, rather than feeling that sadness that he has, he decides to take the step of being in a rage with women instead.
I don't want to do this anymore.
No worries. We stop. So, does everyone understand what I was saying about that, though? With a person who's a rapist, a male who's a rapist generally, what a male who's a rapist is experiencing is huge amounts of sadness with women from his childhood and also his life, that he then, instead of internalising and blaming himself for, which many men do, and of course they never become a rapist externalises it and blames every woman for it. And so he then takes his rage out on every woman through a sexual act of rape. Does that make sense? Sorry?
Just wanted to check Dennis, this is okay. Yeah. When he comes back, it's okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Marie? Left with my mic over there, sorry. Yeah. We'll just see.
I'm feeling a little bit apprehensive because I really, regarding the woman spirit, I could feel, it was hard for me to speak up because I felt this threat of being exposed, of being someone who competes, someone who wants approval,
yep.
Someone who, for me, they feed this emotion and they make me feel really good like my mom does.
Yeah.
And so it's totally different. Like, so once I feel good, then I get this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I tuned out because it was about men. And then the moment Dionysus said this thing about, sorry, just a minute. The moment he said that it was the women were responsible, that their pain was because of women, they got really pissed.
Yes.
Because they're like, so we're responsible for this.
Yes.
And I feel that I'd like to try.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not sure if my intentions are loving, I don't know. But I'll try. I really do.
Yep.
So, there's like 6 here.
Yep.
That I know, but there's like a lot more, but there's like 6 dominant ones, and one of them wants to call herself Mary.
Yeah. Okay. Before we begin, does everybody understand the relationship between a male's feelings of sadness about how women have treated him on earth and his desire then to rape women? Does everyone understand that? Because I don't feel all of you ladies who do. I think many of you tuned out of that discussion. It's very important that you understand this relationship that goes on between the pain that we feel as a result of our relationships as a child, and then whether we internalise or externalise that pain. Right? When we internalise the pain, we blame ourselves for how we've been treated. Does that make sense? So if I was a male who's been treated very badly from women on earth, and I'm growing up as a male, and I internalise that pain, what I will eventually do, and when I say treated badly by women, I might have been laughed at, ridiculed, during my teenage or childhood years, laughed at, ridiculed. I might have been uglier than the average male, for example, and so therefore a woman says, I'd never want you, why would you think I want you, and, ridicule you that way and all that. And then in our childhood, we probably have been treated badly by mum in the process as well, and, so there'd be lots of different things about it that would cause me to feel like sad about how women have treated me. What I will do if I internalise it is I will blame myself for how I've been treated, and I will do everything possible to make a woman feel good about me. So in other words, I'll become a man who panders to a woman, who tries to do everything that a woman wants in order to feel good about myself. So that's one direction that I might take. The other direction that I might take is completely the opposite to that, in that I externalise, instead of feeling my own pain. So in both cases, I'm not feeling my own pain, by the way. In the first case, I'm actually internalizing the pain, blaming myself, still not feeling the pain, I'm not releasing the pain, I'm acting upon the pain, and I'm blaming myself for the way I've been treated so that I don't have to blame women.
And in order to avoid that pain, I just try and get approval from woman after woman after woman after woman.
And that's what I spend the rest of my life doing.
That's how I avoid my pain. Yep.
That's how I avoid my pain. The second way of avoiding your pain, your personal pain, and this is the pain of sadness that you need to feel, the second way of avoiding it is to actually externalize the pain. In other words, to blame the gender who you received the pain from for the pain that you yourself are unwilling to feel. Right? And so what many of the men do is they and very many historically have done this, by the way, not so much in this generation of males, because of laws and other things. They can't really do it and get away with it nowadays. But there are still many places on earth where they can do it and get away with it, by the way. But historically, particularly in our location here in Greece, but in Europe, but also in the Middle East, and then historically, the general feeling was that women were property as well. So, men have been able to easily externalise this pain. And so what they do is they choose to externalise the pain by blaming the women for their pain.
Punishing the woman.
And therefore attempting to take steps to punish them. Yeah. And so in the end, you'll find, if you trace back the history of many of the people who have become raping people on the earth, you will actually find that they have a large degree of pain from their childhood related to the opposite gender that they have externalised rather than internalised. And that's why and also then made unloving choices and decisions as a result of that, which they then perpetrate very unloving acts towards others who were not responsible for their pain. This is how many of you ladies finish up blaming all men for your pain when it was only one or two men that caused it. Does that make sense? And this is how many men finish up blaming all women for their pain when it was only one or two women that caused their pain. And this is something we need to stop doing, and we need to feel our pain instead. And when I say these things, the spirits who are around us during these interactions, see what's happened here is Dionysus, when he was relating that with his group of spirits, those group of spirits, those male spirits, don't realise why they were attracted here to say these things. But the reason why they're attracted is because they can also feel a lot of those women spirits who they're angry towards here. And so they've got a lot of those women spirits, those women spirits who want control of the earth here. And so these male spirits automatically feel attracted here because they're angry with those type of women. Does that make sense? And so and then they want to express their pain and their rage through somebody about that. So this is why these interactions all occur, and this is why these spirits are with you. These women spirits with you were those kind of women who actually treated men as if they were like, nothing and all that kind of stuff, and they're with you. So let's proceed in talking to those spirits.
But there's a desire to please them too. Like there's a very interesting emotion inside. It's like a double thing that goes back and forth.
Yes.
Like the men are responsible. That was caused from the woman responsible. And once you're talking, then I detuned and then trying to bring myself back the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what would they like to say, Maureen? Let's say what they'd like to say rather than what you'd like to say.
I don't know. Now that you said that to me, I don't know.
It's okay. They'll come back to you at some point and express it. So we can do that.
They didn't want to hear what you were
They
saying.
did. The reason why they went away is they didn't want to hear what I just said. And they realised that I was probably going to speak about that with them. And yeah. You all right, Dionysus? Yeah. You're okay? No? Yeah.
Are you feeling afraid, or you just feeling angry?
Yeah. If you can just stay in your body and just breathe diaphragmatically and just pray to God just to look after you, it'll help you a lot to stay with that emotion. These men are used to terrifying you to get their own way. So, you know, the key, when you feel safe, it's because you feel safe with them, if that makes sense. And the key is for you just to feel this fear that you feel when you don't please males who are violent, because these males are violent. Yep.
And for me, a lot of detaching from a lot of negative spirit influence from women that I had was I had to develop the willingness to feel unsafe, because I was so used to them making me feel safe all the time. And I had to realise, okay, I'm going to feel unsafe for a while now. I'm going to feel unprotected, yeah.